What is up, Pirates of Skull and Bones? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. Today we're going to go over a hidden settings menu that turns on a lot of really cool data for you to have while you're boating around. Status effects, range, all kinds of stuff. We're going to go over the status effects for all the boats, what they do briefly, so that way you can have an idea of what type of damage you might want to be doing to someone or what the weapons actually do for you. I'm going to tell you how to add more than just 2 players to your party or your lobby in this case, so you can play with a few more friends if you've got them. And then within that, once you've done that, there's a lot of bonuses, and I'll explain a few of those, one of which is a really great way to double up on your pieces of 8 when you're sailing around doing your collection mission, and how to double that with safety, and a few other things that come with it. Alright, let's dig right into it. There's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to try to keep it brief. I know my videos are normally like 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long. We're going to do this in 8. Alright, under interface, that's the menu we're going to go to first. Custom user interface is the first option. Go there. Most people haven't. That's why I'm showing you this. This is sweet. Display ship info. Always shown. You want to see what kind of ship it is, what level it is, how much health they have, and then once you turn on the other stuff we're about to, it shows all kinds of extra information. Behavior icon. This is really cool. Make sure that's turned on. It's off by default. So usually you get the little red triangle tells them that they're either attacking or whatever. That's not always what that means. Once you turn on this behavior icon, you can get this exclamation point that tells you that they are actually going to come after you. Or you could get a little red icon that's got like a little black stick figure man. Looks like he's running. That tells you they're fleeing from you, so you don't have to engage with them. There's another one that's like a little red horn, and that means that they are being called towards you, and their sole mission is to come and mess with you. So there's a lot of different icons. They're pretty cool, and just knowing what you're dealing with when you're sailing around the map, I think is huge. That should have been on by default. I don't know why it's not. Status effects icon. We're going to go over all the status effects in a moment. Turn that on. What that's going to do is tell you what kind of damage is being done to your opponents and where their status effects are currently at. So if you're going against someone and your front cannons maybe do sails and your side cannons do flooding, if you've got this on, you see, oh man, their sails are almost torn. If I get them with this next shot, they're going to be stopped, and then I can unload on them. You might focus those front cannons versus the side cannons, or depending on what your loadout is, obviously, maybe try to get another mortar shot in there. But by having that on, it'll tell you what they're dealing with, what the different effects are, and you can make the most out of your damage output. Name label, that's personal preference if you want to see their names or not. I always do, that way I know if I'm fucking up the same guy twice. Distance label, always shown is my recommendation. I don't know why that's not on by default. It really should be. When it's on always shown, it's going to put their distance in meters away from your ship. So usually that comes into play when they get into about 450 meters away. That's when it'll actually show how far, like the distance. But when you're shooting someone and you're like, oh, they need to be 350 meters away to get that marked status with the telescope, you can see where they're at. And then once you learn kind of the arc of your guns based on distance, you can be like, oh, they're 350, I need to be at this marker, boom. And you can really just start landing shots a lot easier. It's going to help you be a lot more accurate. Turn that distance meter on. It's huge, you guys. Player ship info. This is all stuff that's on by default. You guys do whatever you want here. Go through them, but the first few are the ones that are off, and they need to be on. I don't know why they're not. Under gameplay, this is another thing I want to touch on, you guys. Dither sails in combat I think is really good. What it does is it makes your sails like transparent or opaque when you're in combat. So normally you can't see through the sails, and when you're just sailing around you still can. But the moment you get into a combat scenario, they now go transparent to where you can see through them. Gives you better sight lines, gives you an idea where you're going. You may or may not crash into something a little easier or avoid collision depending on. So turn that on. I think it's really good. And then quality of life for me, I turned off camera shake. I thought that was pretty good. It made it a little less jarring while I'm out there getting blown up, and I can focus a little easier on the task at hand. Alright, that's the settings. That's what I wanted to walk through with you guys. Let's cover the status effects really briefly, because I think a lot of people have seen it, but they don't necessarily maybe know what it does. So ablaze is they're on fire. Neat. It deals high damage over a period of time. So it's kind of like bleed damage, but it's ablaze damage. Flooded. Great. So this does a type of damage that is unrepairable. So it's like the severe damage at the bottom of your bar. Once you've died once and you respawn in, you've got some of that. Flooded damage does the same thing. In addition to that, once they're fully flooded, they go a lot slower, so you can catch up to them. So if you're trying to pursue somebody and you can apply flooded from a distance, you're going to be able to catch them a little easier. That's great. Torn Sails escalates that just a little more. So once you've done a certain amount of sail damage, they actually become immobilized for a short period of time. So if you've got somebody you're trying to pursue and you can do Torn Sails damage with a mortar, and they've got like a treasure map or whatever it might be, pieces of 8, who knows, if you can tear those sails, you're going to catch right up to them, and then they're a sitting duck for you to just blow them away. Explosive, this is my favorite, especially in high combat situations with lots of ships. When you do an explosive, it's AoE, area of effect, and so you can actually do damage to multiple ships in a spot. I think that's great. That's what I use a lot of. Bombard level 3s for the win until you get up to another tier of Bombard. All right, and then piercing damage. It penetrates the armor and then does additional health damage. So it's going to ignore some of the armor effects depending on what type of armor is on the boat, and you're just going straight at the health, and that's pretty sick. So I would encourage you guys to kind of get an idea what these do for you. Maybe get a loadout based on what weapons you have that you like, and then know what kind of damage you're applying, so that way you can maximize your overall output. And if you're running with a crew, maybe have somebody that's doing sails, somebody that's doing flooded, somebody else that's doing a blaze, and then they're just on fire sinking and they don't have any sails, and you just win. So all fun things there. I talked about adding multiple players to your party, more than the normal 3. So the way this works is when you go to social and you invite your friends, you can only have 2 other members in your party. Well, in your main tab here, it's group and friends, but then there's the world. These are all the people that are on your server. So what you can do is this: invite a couple of your friends to your group. They're going to join the server with you. So now it's you and 2 others. Leave the party. If you have other friends that want to play, invite them to your group. What will happen is when your friends join your group, they come into your world. When you leave this party or leave the group, they still are in the same world with you. And so what you can do is get 3 guys together, all break apart, invite more people, all break apart, and then basically just fill up the world with a bunch of your homies. We had over 10 people playing on the same server last night together, and that's really tight because you can go and do plunders together, you can go get some of the bosses and do things. There's a lot of really sweet opportunity when you've got 6 to 10 people rolling together. It gets pretty spicy, and it's a lot of fun. Within that concept, what you can do is this. We had, like I said, 6, 10 people all playing together. We have 7 in the Discord right now playing together all on the same server. When you go and you're harvesting your pieces of 8, it'll sometimes give you the opportunity for a double or nothing, which means however many pieces of 8 are on your ship at the time of that notification coming to you, if you accept, it will double it. So if you've got 1,000, you're going to get 2,000, but you have to sail to a certain point. When you accept that, it puts you into a PvP scenario where it sends out a notification to all the kingpins, and it's like, hey, this guy's got piece of 8, he's trying to get here, go blow him up. And so everybody does because it's free piece of 8, it's great. What you can do, and what we've been doing as a group, because we have a lot of these locations, we'll sail around, and when one of the guys gets the notification to accept that, he says on the comms to everybody, like, hey, I'm about to do a double up mission. And so he accepts it. Everybody in the party that's on the same server joins that hunt because only 6 people can do it. And so if you're sailing around and you accept that, double or nothing, and then all of your friends join the hunt, no one else can hunt you, and all your homies won't hunt you. And so unless they're real homies, and then they're definitely going to hunt you. But essentially it gives you a protection, and you can just got to get to where you're going, and you don't have to worry about another player going and blowing you up and taking your gold. And so that's one thing that's pretty sweet. Farming bosses is also really, really sweet. There's a lot of bonuses and benefits to playing with a group, and this is a great way to get more people on. Now, once your world fills up at 20, that's the cap. So I would encourage you, if you've got 5 or 6 people that want to play, shop around for a server that maybe has 13 or 14 on it. So just log out, log back in a few times, and then just join that. And then once you're kind of full up, if you still got more people that want to join, just keep an eye on that number. And when something leaves and goes to 19, just tell your guy on comms, hey, join me now. Keep your party open for people to join, and you're good to go. That's a lot of cool tips, tricks, and some information I can pass on to you guys that'll hopefully make your game experience better. Let me know in the comments if you're interested. There's a video that I'm working on that is going to be how to be a kingpin PvE only. Like how to do all the takeovers, how to get that entire economy rolling, without having to interact in the PvP realm, because a lot of guys are not really trying to do PvP. They're treating it like an MMO and they're trying to solo, and I've got a way to do that, and I think it's going to be a good piece of content. So if that's something you might be interested, let me know in the comments. Like the video if you would, or if there's some type of information that you're looking for that I haven't shown you guys yet, let me know in the comments as well. I read all of them. There's a ton of you guys that hate this game and you always comment down there. I don't know what your deal is, but whatever, we're having fun. For the rest of us, let me know what you need. I got your back. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.